post was investigated and determined to be unfounded. However, school police will have a presence outside West Boca High on Wednesday. The principal says the threat was reported through the Fortify Florida app.
Decision 2020, another debate smackdown in South Carolina tonight ahead of the primary there this weekend and Super Tuesday coming up next week. Joe Biden leads in the Palmetto State. Bernie Sanders, the party frontrunner nationally, and the debate hinged on the question, who can beat President Trump? Bernie Sanders felt the burn tonight from Joe Biden, who said thousands have died since Sanders' vote in 2007 to give gun manufacturers immunity from lawsuits.
When Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability, more than all the wars, including Vietnam, from that point on. Carnage on our street.
I have cast thousands of votes, including bad votes. That was a bad vote.
Again and again, the question is the party and country ready for an avowed Democratic socialist as president?
I am not looking forward to a scenario where it comes down to Donald Trump with his nostalgia for the social order of the 1950s and Bernie Sanders with a nostalgia for the revolutionary politics of the 1960s.
Big fights over Sanders' big ticket items, $50 trillion, $60 trillion over 10 years, but he's undaunted.
And finally, doing what every other major country on earth does, guaranteeing health care to all people as a human right through a Medicare for all single-payer system.
That it'll kick 149 million Americans off their current health insurance in 4 years.
A more confident Michael Bloomberg tonight after his widely panned first debate, but more fire, too, aimed toward the former New York mayor, a Democrat turned Republican turned independent, and now a Democrat again.
I don't care how much money Mayor Bloomberg has. The core of the Democratic Party will never trust him.
I have the experience, I have the resources, and I have the record. And all of the sideshows that the senator wants to bring up have nothing to do with that. When people hired me to run New York City 3 times in an overwhelmingly Democratic progressive city, they elected me again and again.
Heightened tension with the highest of stakes. Super Tuesday will effectively be a nationwide referendum of sorts on the nominee. And then the Florida primary looming large March 17th. Meanwhile, Pete Buttigieg is scheduled to be in West Palm Beach and Wellington this week on a fundraising swing. Kelly?
New information about the coronavirus crisis tonight. The military confirms a soldier based in South Korea has tested positive for the virus, the first American service member infected. Meanwhile, the Centers for Disease Control warns coronavirus is spreading so quickly around the globe, it's just a matter of time before it begins rolling across the U.S. So far, health experts say the risk in this country is low.
We want people to be ready in terms of if we do see community spread, what would that mean to you?
The CDC is advising employers and schools to think about planning for widespread disruptions, like limiting travel and large meetings, allowing workers to telework, and closing schools or allowing internet schoolwork. There is now a 3-month window to decide whether the coronavirus will cancel the Tokyo Olympics this summer. The longest-serving member of the International Olympic Committee says waiting 3 months would still be enough time to get things in place for the July Games. This comes as the coronavirus spreads through Asia. However, the IOC is confident the 2020 Games will go on as planned.
New attention tonight for a stalled development project in Delray Beach. The project is the West Atlantic development known as Fabric, looking to bring rental units and hundreds of parking spots to West Atlantic Avenue. Tonight, the Community Redevelopment Agency looking for answers on the status of the project approved more than a year ago, but it's not broken ground.
The CRA board has requested an update as to what we've been doing for the last 30 days, what project we're submitting tomorrow. We've made them aware that we are submitting a complete site plan application with a conditional use application per the agreement tomorrow at 10 a.m.
The attorney for the developer says the project, once known as Alta West, expects to break ground in March 2021. Community leaders in Delray Beach moving forward with plans to bring more workforce housing to that city. The Carver Square project would bring 20 single-family homes to Delray's southwest neighborhood. The plan is to help address the need for affordable housing. The proposal is for a nonprofit to develop, construct, and sell the homes.
Soon, more than 100 homeless people living in a Palm Beach County park will have another option. County commissioners approved opening an emergency shelter. At John Prince Park in Lake Worth Beach, about 140 people are living in a makeshift tent city. The county says this new shelter will house up to 125 people at a former correctional facility near the South Florida Fairgrounds. It will cost $800,000 to renovate and more than $5 million to operate.
There are neighbors, there are friends and family members, and they're living in a tent in a park, and that's not acceptable. As the county mayor, I can't let that occur.
The emergency shelter will also provide a resource center with medical and behavioral care, job readiness, and transportation. County leaders hope to have it open in 4 to 6 weeks.
The opera singer accused of crashing through security checkpoints near Mar-a-Lago is competent to stand trial. That, according to Hannah Romhild's attorney, who says she's now being given the medication she needs for unspecified mental health issues. He says Romhild was off that medication during the incident that led to her arrest last month. She was accused of leading authorities on a chase, starting at the breakers and then crashing through 2 security checkpoints on Palm Beach at Mar-a-Lago before being caught later.
Right now, the U.S. Coast Guard continues its search for a father and son who went missing on their boat 7 days ago. Peter and Gerald Cook were supposed to arrive in Vero Beach last Tuesday. The men are from Panama City. The Cook family is asking boaters to keep an eye out for the men.
In 60 seconds, the key findings from the final police report into the crash that killed a world record-setting rower on the Treasure Coast.
A push to make a stretch of the Florida Turnpike toll-free tonight, where it could happen and why.
And a Florida man loses $800 after calling a fake phone number for Amazon, and he's far from the only one. The one thing you need to avoid doing.
This is News Channel 5 at 11. Thanks for making WPTV South Florida's most watched television station.
Case closed tonight after a deadly crash involving a college rowing team. The police investigation into that collision last month in Vero Beach is now over.
WPTV News Channel 5's MEGHAN McRoberts reports the key findings coming to light tonight.
Well, the case closed with the driver of a van carrying 11 members of a rowing team being cited for failing to yield to oncoming traffic as he made a turn onto the Merrill P. Barber Bridge here in Vero Beach. Among the key findings, the driver of a pickup truck could not stop in time to avoid hitting the van, which pulled in front of the pickup, according to newly published reports. The truck crashing into the front passenger side of this van where Holy Cross rowing team member Grace Rhett was sitting. A first responder is said to have described repeatedly looking for ways to try and provide aid to Rhett, who died in that crash. The van's driver, Patrick Diggins, was cited. Reports state that Diggins had the green light but not a green turn arrow. Diggins, who is also the director of rowing at Holy Cross, retired from the school just last week. Reports of the Vero Beach police findings come as a newly installed traffic signal has been activated at the foot of the bridge, a safety measure installed in the aftermath of the deadly crash. No one will be facing any criminal charges for this crash. I'm MEGHAN McRoberts, WPTV News Channel 5.
Thousands of dollars raised on the Treasure Coast will be donated in the name of fallen FHP trooper Joseph Bullock. Big Apple Pizza's fundraiser last Sunday collected more than $5,000 for the 100 Club of St. Lucie County, which helps families of officers who are seriously injured or killed in the line of duty.
It may only be temporary, but tonight there's a push to make a short stretch of the Florida Turnpike toll-free. This year, several major road projects will be getting underway in Martin County. Port St. Lucie and Martin County leaders are proposing to suspend tolls between the Stewart and Becker Road exits for 2 years, beginning in October. That's what they hope to do anyway. That's when work begins to widen a stretch of State Road 714.
The reason we need this sort of inter-county or intergovernmental collaboration is because a lot of the activity that's happening in Port St. Lucie will impact our residents here in Martin County.
Both government agencies will sign a letter to send to the Turnpike Authority. We'll keep you posted. The round trip between the two exits, by the way, is 88 cents.
Tomorrow, the city of West Palm Beach will announce the new executive director to lead the Community Redevelopment Agency. The CRA is responsible for development in 2 districts, downtown's City Center and Northwood. The new executive director will be announced during a special CRA board meeting tomorrow. New at 11, a controversial bill to merge 2 Florida colleges with a bigger university heads to the full chamber. The Florida House will soon vote to merge New College of Florida and Florida Polytechnic under the University of Florida. Students from the 2 schools and their leaders were at the Capitol today fighting to remain autonomous. Though the merger aims to save the state money, Polytechnic's president says it won't be much, considering the schools use so little of Florida's multi-billion-dollar higher education budget.
The 2 schools together only represents about 1.5%, and you may save 10% of that 1.5%.
In the state Senate, opposition on both sides of the aisle and no companion bill makes it harder to get a vote there.
Sandwich chain Jimmy John's is in trouble, we're told, with the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA sending a warning letter for food safety violations. Jimmy John's accused of putting contaminated sprouts and cucumbers on sandwiches sold in Iowa in November and December 2019. 22 people got sick from eating the food. Jimmy John's says sprouts have been removed from all restaurants until further notice. New at 11, a fake Amazon phone number cost a Florida man more than $800. He says his trouble began when he turned to Google to find a number for Amazon customer service. After the call with the person he thought was an Amazon employee, someone delivered a bag containing 8 boxes, each containing a worthless gift card. An imposter had hacked his Amazon account and ordered $800 worth of gift cards, but likely stole the money from the cards using the numbers on the back.
I've been stressed out for a couple of months because I haven't been able to recoup all this money.
Amazon has refunded his money. Now, when you're trying to track down a legitimate number for a company, never use a web search to find it. Contact the company through its official app or the web page you would use to log in to your account.
All right, South Florida. It was a record-breaking day today, while tying a few records. In our area, it was Vero and Fort Pierce, 87 degrees this afternoon, 85 in West Palm, but high 80s on the way again for Wednesday, just ahead of our cold front, which is up around the Panhandle now. Rain stretches all the way back down into Tampa, and we'll move into the Treasure Coast overnight. We had some earlier rain fire up around Jupiter and the Gardens, Jupiter Farms. That's now moved off the coastline, and temperatures have cooled off from those highs in the high 80s. We've dropped 10 to 15 degrees. Little patchy fog possible, but with the wind and the cloud cover around, those aren't really optimal conditions to get fog formation. 68 now in Okeechobee and 60s to mid 70s along the coastline of the Treasure Coast. Here's your first alert forecast through the overnight. It'll be partly cloudy, and we are looking at some showers and a little bit of rain working in around Vero and Sebastian before sunrise, maybe even into Fort Pierce. So overnight lows, a mix of 60s to low 70s down around Boca and Delray and Boynton Beach. All right, here's another look at the timeline. So there is 7 in the morning. For morning commute, you'll be dealing with some rain around Vero into Fort Pierce, into Port St. Lucie through 8 and 9 in the morning. It really it's slow moving, but by the noon hour, it's starting to head toward coastal Palm Beach County. There's 11:45. An embedded thunderstorm also possible during the day, so a few rumbles of thunder. We could get a strong storm or two, and then a second line of showers and rain works in tomorrow evening before our front finally slides through, as I said, before sunrise on Thursday. So rain chances pretty high for Wednesday, and then it is very dry, bone dry, and low humidity, especially on the weekend with a second front pushing in Saturday night, and our humidity levels drop like a rock, perhaps some of the driest air that we've seen all winter. So snuggle alerts in effect starting on Thursday. Honda Classic, it will be chilly in the morning, no question about that, but by the afternoon we're up in the high 60s and low 70s, and lots of sunshine. Rain chances are non-existent, and there won't be a